To start well. If he can make a bit of a match out of it in the first set, it can be interesting throughout the match. If it's not the case, I think he'll be struggling.
Yeah, I think he'll do well to win a set against Tomas, who's the number 6 seed. And of course, this is his 13th consecutive Australian Open appearance, and he's been around for a long time at the top of the game. Of course, Bhambri, a very promising young junior, won the junior event here a fair few years ago now, and it's never easy to make that transition from being a top junior to being a top pro. Ono Gabas is the man in the middle.
7 and 9, you have full team of lineup players. We're using Okai on this course, so please make it clear when you want to change in a timely manner. The best way is just to say challenge in case I'm tracking the ball. At least we can stop the play easily. And if it's noisy or if it's a bit moving in the stand, just look at me. I will make some announcements. And don't forget the time between points. If I have a chance to let you know before, I will, unless you're really over the time. All right? Any questions? No? Yuki? Heads?
A lot of elevation on that coin toss. Wasn't affected by the wind, though.
Have a good match.
It's always good. Big day this for Yuki Bhambri. Playing in just his second Grand Slam singles appearance. Hails from New Delhi. As we mentioned, just 23 years of age, and has spent the past 12 months really cutting his teeth on the Challenger Tour. And he's done pretty well. He's won 2 of those bad boys and 2 finals as well on the Challenger Tour. But yeah, could give us a little bit of insight what it's like trying to make that transition from being a good challenger player to being a good pro.
I can almost say it's a different life. If you play here a first-round match at a Grand Slam or any ATP Tour event level, it feels like a final. And for him, it's going to be tough to adjust straight away. As you said last year, main draw here against Andy Murray, he lost in the first round. Then hasn't played on any tour level match since then. Played on challenger level, and what I really find admiring, he was ranked outside the 400 after the Australian Open 2015, and getting his ranking back to, at this moment, 95, with a high ranking 88 at the end of last year.
And I mean, you've got to give him big props for that. He's taking those transitionary steps in order to climb the rankings. He is a direct acceptance. Of course, Tomas is used to playing at the sharp end of our sport for many, many years now. Equaled his best appearance here and making the semi-finals last year. Of course, he broke that losing streak that he had against Nadal. I think 17 times in a row he lost him, eventually beating Rafa here. So the feel-good factor will be nice. And of course, a fair few points to defend. 2 titles last year, a couple of finals as well. Monte Carlo, Rotterdam and Doha. But he's one of those guys who expects to be challenging at the tail end of the biggest tournaments. And I think this should be a pretty comfortable outing for him today. Important that he imposes himself early on in the match. He'll be very comfortable, having played a lot of matches here over the years. 34 wins, you can see. Ono Gabas with the honor of presiding over this one. Hails from France. But you'll see a fair few different umpires. Most of the umpires are split between the ATP and the ITF as far as the men are concerned. Some work exclusively for ATP, some exclusively for the ITF. But of course, at the majors, we do get a bit of a mix. First meeting between these two, Jaco. I'm sure Bhambri would have seen a lot more of Tomas. And for those of us who haven't seen much of Yuki, you commentated on his match last year here, didn't you, against Murray?
I did, and in the first set, as you said, he played quite well. He was, giving Andy a good run for his money, but then it went quick after that. It was never really a contest, but we could see some great moments. We could see why he was able to win some challenges later on that season, and I really think that's great, because if you've been around 200, what Yuki was for like 3 years, he was promising, one of the better world juniors.
Yep.
And you're being adopted by the Florida family, I always call them, to train there and to work there. Yep. Pretty high expectations, and coming from a country like India with such a big following, it's important for him to break through sooner or later, but finally getting into the top 100, and I must say that's admiring.
Yes, I agree. Not easy to make it into the top 100 these days when you consider the depth in men's tennis. We've got a quick view there of Tomas Berdych's coach, Danny Valverde. course, was with Andy Murray for a fair few years. This is the start of the second season between them. Do you think Danny's done well in his first season as a head coach of Thomas?
He has done well by being able to maintain his level. If you look at Thomas, he's a consistent player. He's Mr. Consistency on the tour together with David Ferrer. They are the best of the rest already for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And he's just a workaholic anyways. You know, he has a good team, he has a physio there, he has everybody always traveling with him. So I think for Danny, working with Thomas is just, I wouldn't say maintaining his fitness, maintaining his interest, maintaining his joy. And I think therefore he has done a good job. Sometimes he gets kind of down on himself, he can start to doubt Thomas, but he has not really put in something extra. He has not beaten the top 5 more last year he has done in a few years before.
But it's not through lack of effort though. Those top guys, they're just better.
Ladies and gentlemen,
of course, the Czech are very single-minded. That's what I really admire about them. And it started way back in the day with Martina Navratilova. I remember when she was so fastidious about what she was eating. A lot of people talk about Novak Djokovic, but I tell you what, Martina for me was one of the pioneers in that area. And then, of course, you will know Ivan well. Remember how concentrated he was as an individual.
I think Ivan Lendl, I mean, obviously not the same character, not the same shot selection, but if you would compare a Czech to another Czech, you should compare Berdych to Lendl. Also being so as consistent, not as great as Ivan in his day, but the only Czech also to have consecutive semi-finals at any slam in the open era.
I'm a big fan of the way Berdych goes about his business. And he'll be looking to go deep again this year. But of course, it's one match at a time. And he's got to take care of business against India's Yuki Bhambri. Day 1 of the 104th edition of the Australian Open. It's the 29th time that we've played here at Melbourne Park. This wonderful tennis facility, just a stone's throw away from Melbourne City Centre. And the second match of the day here on Margaret Court Arena sees the Czech Tomas Berdych, the tournament's number 6 seed, taking on Yuki Bhambri, a former junior champion here back 2009. Big day for the Indian. So important that he starts well. Hang on, just before we get going, something's not quite right here. Perhaps pressure of one of the balls not right, so additional work already for the chair umpire.
Also checking the total balls on court. Sometimes a ball is on the court from a former match, a match that was played before, underneath some chairs, but it seems they figured it all out. New ball comes in. Some extra cans.
Of course, unlike the US Open, if the ball goes into a crowd, you don't get to keep it. You've got to throw it back in here. So I think we're good to go. Jukka Alting alongside me, Rob Koenig, Tomas Berdych, to start things off here on Margaret Court Arena. It's one of his favorite serves. Berdych using his height to good effect with the slider out wide. Bhambri on it. Of course, that one down the middle, very similar sort of action. Spent a couple of weeks with Berdych during the IPTL in the month of December, and he said to me he was trying to shed a couple of pounds, just wanted to become a little lighter. Working hard on that, was trying to go gluten-free for a couple of months, Yucko.
Maybe we should do the same.
I'm trying to put on weight, man.
It's normal. If you come from European winter, obviously you always gain a little bit more weight at the end of the season, September, October, it's general. And if you want to come to Australia, maybe also in the Middle East before in Doha, it's warm. You don't want to carry too much weight. From here, you might go back to European winter just for a couple of weeks, but then you start going to Indian Wells, Key Biscayne. So in the beginning of the year, it's really important that you're fit. Every extra pound that you have to carry is going to cost you.
Comes there of Berdych's much better half, Esther Satarova. First look at Yuki Bhambri on serve.
This is the way Thomas would like to play, even on his return games, trying to take on that second serve a little early. We've seen over the last couple of days in training, especially when it's so hot, that the first flat serve will work, but on second serve it's even smarter probably to put in a little more spin. Ball kicks up really high. Once Berdych is in control in the rally, he starts moving around from left to right, whether it's his backhand or his forehand. And once you start running against him, it's really difficult to get out of trouble.
Yeah, he's pretty good at holding his court position, isn't he? And he's got serious firepower for a guy who's 6'4", 6'5", moves exceptionally well. I think that was what he was indicating to me, that he felt that if he could just lose a couple of kilos, it would just help with his movement a little bit more. You know, when you're playing 5 sets against the very best players in the world, you know, every ounce of energy that you can have at the tail end of those big matches, it's of vital importance. And I like the fact that he's always trying to look for that little nth degree, try to become better in some aspect of his game.
That's too bad. It was a great second serve. Good opportunity then on that short backhand. Well, as we said earlier, Robbie, is that he's been the best of the rest with David Ferrer for such a long time. And if he wants to start beating the top 4, top 5 guys, you know, what is he lacking? He is indeed lacking movement. Maybe a little shot selection on the backhand slice. Volley's not that great, but okay. He's won everything else except the Grand Slam. Wimbledon Finals 2010, if I'm correct.
Yep. Because remember, he won Paris as a 20-year-old, and I think we all thought he was going to go on to be a regular contender in those Masters 1000 events and at the tail end of Grand Slams. But of course, so the likes of Leighton Hewitt and Roger Federer step it up big time. Berdych off to the perfect start, asserting his authority over the slightly weaker opposition. Is Danny Valverde. I think it was Per Basalt, his physio there, just under the head, keeping a low profile. This pair, of course, worked as an ATP physio for many years.
And his fitness coach, Basut Simčić.
Backhands forged in steel. You're not going to get too many free points. If you're Bhambri, I think it's the forehand of Berdych that you've got to target. So we'll get a few more enforced errors.
The question is this Indian player going to hit strong enough to really punish that forehand of Berdych?
Yep.
He's going to have to take some chances.
Of course he'll be nervous. Not used to playing on a big stage like this against a world-class player. How do you handle those nerves?
And he hasn't played any pre-tournament before the Australian Open. He hasn't played since November, the last time he pulled out of a challenger.
That's his favourite, that forehand cross-court.
40-15.
One of the few guys who prefers hitting the inside-in forehand versus the inside-out. Just has a natural hook on his shot. Strong start here. Shuts the gates on game number 3 emphatically.
Berdych lead 3 games to go.
Great start for Berdych.
And the worst imaginable start for Bhambri. This is not the way you want to start against this player. Great how they can cover up the seats for these guys to give them a little comfort. Days like this, as we just already saw, up to probably 33 degrees right now. Getting a little bit of shade during changeover is great. You need it.
So,
imagine you have to play there, probably play best of 5. And you want to also, being Berdych, as professional as he is, looking forward into the tournament, you want to go match by match, but at the same time you want to save energy. You want to try to close every game you can close. You want to win every set that you can win, not having to spend too much time on the court.
Take a seat quickly, please, ladies and gentlemen.
The winner of this one will take on the winner between Haase and Basic, currently ongoing. Basic up 2 sets to love against your fellow countryman there.
Yeah, people can't see it at home, but I'm wearing my orange short just to support him here from our commentary position here on Margaret Court Arena, but it's not helping. I would have loved to see my countryman play against possible Tomas Berdych in second round, but he's far away from that.
In fact, just an update on that one. Robin, unfortunately, has gone down in straight sets, 7-6, 6-4, 6-4. So we can confirm the winner of this one will be taking on Basic.
Having a great run, qualifying, and then winning his first round.
15.
That's what it means for players like Berdych, and also here for Bhambri. Winning a first round match here, first of all, a lot of money, but also 45 points to the ATP ranking. And these points, when you're ranked around 100, they are so vital.
Let's talk a little bit about the serve of Yuki Bhambri. What do you make of it technically? You had a great serve back in your day. What do you look for? Key components of a good serve?
Well, there are 5 ways of serving a little faster. That's the way you use your knees. It's the way you can use your body, then your shoulder, your elbow, and your wrist. And if you line those 5 up in the proper position, you know, then you can get decent speed. He does it quite well, but I think there's a little bit too much wrist and hand action at the end, where he's losing speed.
That's the shot there. But I'd like to see Tomas just be a little better with bigger target. Doesn't have to hit that for a winner.
It's not so much Jam, it's his movement. Normally when Berdych is on the run, he hits better shots. If the ball's coming towards him, I would play him a lot down the middle. You know, if he's a little bit lazy when it comes at him, especially on that forehand where you need a lot of space, the way he hits that forehand, and he doesn't give him sometimes enough space. That's why he shanks it many times or hits it in the alley.
So, result of that, Bhambri's got a digit alongside his name. 3-1 here, first set.
15.
You can see Berdych uses the major muscle groups really well on his serve. It's not just arm and elbow.
But still snappy at the end as well. That's why he can easily go wide on almost 200, 198. And as Bhambri doesn't get much more than 168 going wide.
13.
If I were Bhambri in this case, I would challenge this serve, even if it was good. Just break up the rhythm. It's going too fast, this game.
He's cruising through service games at the moment. He's only lost a couple of points on serve, 2 to be precise. 1 on the first, 1 on the second. That's a shot that's improved over the years, that backhand slice of Berdych's. And check number 1 is off to a flyer. 4-1, first set.
Lots of towels around the players. They probably need to wipe up all the sweat in the next couple of hours here on court.
They're very popular souvenirs, aren't they, those towels? They always somehow find their way into the racket bag at the end of the match, Jaka.
We call it secret prize money. It's funny, the players, you know, have made millions and millions. First thing they do when the match is finished, they quickly put these towels in their bags and take them home. And they sometimes stand in front of the female locker room and to have a little exchange program going, so you can change the male towel and the female towel.
Didn't know that.
And you only get the towels nowadays on court, because before, in the early days, 15, 20 years ago, you'd also get the same towels in the locker room. And there would be like 4 or 5 days and all the towels were gone. Look at the way he's using his legs and how fit he is,
Yeah.
Tomas.
Great camera shot that.
Look how high he jumps, you know, it's like 30, 35 centimeters in the air. Already being 196, I think he is, in length. Arm, racket, and a big push-off. Gives you a great angle on the serve, going wide and going down the tee.
was risky approaching cross court.
On the left far sideline. The ball was collected.
It's our first challenge of the afternoon on this court.
You might as well, if you have 3 and you're already up 4-1. As I said, if it's good, you'd rather have the point and not waste any energy.
Ball stands.
But he was wrong.
15.
You see Robbie also on his first serve is 174. And the serve before down the tee on deuce is 178. And at this level, at this tour level, that's just not big enough.
Yeah, you need a lot of free points, don't you?
To keep winning service games for in the best of 5, you need more than that.
Yuki Bhambri.
Most comfortable service game of the match so far for the young Indian.
Berdych leads 4 games to 2.
Done well to settle in now.
Big first point of the game. I think he should win the first point of the game, Bhambri, to at least make Thomas think in his own service games. I would put in any effort, any energy that I have in my body in this first 2 points coming up, knowing how important that first set is.
It's Yuki's dad who's been coaching him. We just saw him there on the radar screen. Chanda. It's been a family affair for many years. Enjoying the fruits of all his labour now to watch his son play on such a big court. Oh, that's world class.
We're on 15.
He's taking it on. That's the way we wanted it.
Yep. If you get beaten by a passing shot at the end of the range, it's just simply too good.
It just gives you confidence, a point like that. And now Thomas has to think twice what he's going to do with the second serve here. He's going to have to be a little bit more safe. That's what you get if Berdych's arm's not as loose, because he's down low 15. He's pulling this last one a little bit, going for too much when he's outside the court, and all of a sudden you got the first 2 points.
Yeah, so there's definitely a half chance now for Bhambri.
Pot.
I know Gabas with the overall there was right underneath his nose. Ball does leave a mark on the court, so you would have seen where it is. Oh, what a forehand. Some serious injection of pace. And well taken there by that young lady in the covers.
15-30.
We're speaking in cricket analogies. Australians taking on the Indians just across the road at the MCG. I'm sure Yuki might have snuck over there yesterday. Caught a bit of that. Of course, cricket by far and away the biggest sport in India. Those guys are like gods back at home. Virat Kohli lighting it up at the MCG yesterday.
His forehand sometimes he doesn't hit it dead center, Bhambri, but it's actually a very good shot because it just gives that little extra edge, a little extra funny spin on it. And Tomas got away by hitting it big the point before, but not now. 2 break points.
Here's his favourite one that we were speaking about at the start of this match.
30-40.
That's the second time he gets a little greedy with the backhand, and it's Bhambri
New balls, please.
who gets right back on track. He breaks. We're on serve. 4-3 first set.
It's a good sign. If you ask him to do something extra and try to take it on in the first couple of points, and he does it, it's actually what marks a good player. And if you see things like that from a player like Bhambri, you sometimes wonder why he all of a sudden had to go down to 400 in the rankings in 2015 before winning these matches again and coming back on top 100 ranking. He knows how to play the game. He knows where the important points are.
Time.
But now another big game coming up. Tomas will have his wake-up call after losing this service game, and he will come out well. New balls are coming. Might help Bhambri a little bit of speed of serve.
And they're targeting that forehand again early on with a little bit of S and V. It's always nice to see. So watching some videos, Yuka, the other day of Vijay Armitage, and I did not realize what a great serve and volley player he was. I knew he was good. Of course, together with the Krishnans back in the day, really propelled Indian tennis forward, did Vijay. Big personality. Hell of a game on him.
Tennis being a great sport in India for a long time, but also elite. So it was not easy for a lot of people to play tennis.
Good point.
And Vijay being in top 15, if I was ranked, I think number 14 or 15 in the world in his days. Ramesh being just outside of top 20. But after that was just Leander Pace and Mahesh Bhupathi.
Don't forget on the women's side of things, Sanya Mirza has been doing some incredible things on the doubles court with Martina Hingis. I think they're on a 30-match win streak at the moment.
Number 1 in the world.
Enjoying her stay in the penthouse rankings. Nice view up there, isn't it? You've been there.
Feels good. That's a great serve, well placed. And also one of his fastest one, 180 kilometers an hour.
Good combination of placement and power.
That's a poor miss. Shank return from Tomas. Happy that the ball was still in play, but then no rush here for Bhambri, and all of a sudden he gives back a break point to the Czech. Don't give him too many.
Oh, he's got away with one there. And we speak about that cross-court approach and often the inside-in forehand. It's the one pattern of play where I see guys get burnt the most throughout the course of the season. And Bhambry's got lucky there. Tomas will be kicking himself. That's what you're talking about, the ability just to get those free points when you've got a big serve. Makes the world of difference.
2 out of the last 3. He's been able to win with a big serve. That's a great hole. That's such a big game. We were already a little worried after he broke back. It's always the game right after that Tomas is going to be on fire, and he was on break point, but he served well and played gutsy.
Yeah, good shot selection. And that'll do him the world of good. Mentally, he'll feel like he's really in it now. Of course, you've got to step it up even further. Tail end of the set now.
It also took him a little while to warm up. You see this blue bandage on his arm from Bhambri. And as I said, he had to retire in November from a challenger. Hasn't played any tour matches since. Maybe he also had to get adjusted a little bit.
This is Dad on the right in the red shirt. Chanda, who's been coaching him since he was 6.
15.
Love that play. As soon as Bhambri was in trouble, Berdych was quick to recognize it.
30-15.
You see this forehand here, he gives himself enough space to be able to hit that ball.
But it's the off-the-ball movement that I like. That recognition, he's in trouble. You can see the chips coming. Strong game. So we're talking about the kinesio tape that Bhambri was wearing on his arm. It's an interesting story as well, because the physio of Tomas Berdych, Per Bastolt, do you know he's got the rights for all the kinesio tape in Europe, in the Scandinavian countries. Good businessman is Per.
That's why he enjoys traveling with TB.
There he is on the right.
That's why he's looking still smiling, although
he's got a big
it's still
smile.
4-all. No reason to smile yet.
Got that one horribly wrong. Better game from Berdych, a stronger one, and he asserts his authority once again. 5-4, he leads first set. I love this court. We did a couple of matches here last year. They put the roof over it. It's been here 2 years now. Lovely intimacy about it.
A necessary roof. Not so much to cover us from rain, but also from sunshine. I think on days like this, when the temperature is that warm, I've once read that the court temperature gets to about 60 degrees centigrade.
Wow.
Celsius. And I remember from many years ago that if the ball kids sometimes didn't have to run often enough, the bottom of their shoes started to stick to the court.
No way.
And we've seen many players in the past coming from the court on days like this, where the feet, the soles of their feet were just completely blistered. Thomas Engqvist, one year, he just came off out of a long best-of-5 match, and he just came in the locker room. He had no more foot soles left. They were just gone. And imagine if you win, you would have to come back, you know, maybe 2 days later, completely wrapped up.
Level 15.
Oh, that's an oil painting of a backhand.
15.
What a smooth stroke that was.
Don't you think his backhand's a better shot than his forehand?
Yes.
I just like it better, just the way it sounds.
New gear, of course, this season for Berdych. Jaco.
Yeah, no more H&M, and he's gone to Adidas. And it was a great story to Adidas. I just saw
30-15.
Klaus Martin, who was head of marketing and tennis at Adidas already for a long time. And I asked him, I said, how many years you've been around the tournaments? He said, this is my 117th consecutive Grand Slam. He's starting his 30th year as head of marketing for tennis for Adidas worldwide. And he just signed Thomas. In the men's department, they're struggling to sign the big guys. The female, this brand has all the top players, a lot of the top players.
That's a nice backhand
Mr.
return.
Bhambri changed the call on the left baseline.
Yuki just wants to check that it did indeed catch a piece of the line. This is what I like to call a check challenge. Player probably feels it's in.
A check or a check challenge?
Stands.
You saw I was going there, right? Well done.
30.
No pun intended. So pressure right back on Bhambri here. It's a well-constructed point.
Again, another cross-court approach shot.
Mr. Bhambri has 2 changes to make.
And Berdych is not making him play the volley here, which I think he regrets. Stages like this at 5-4, 30 all, you always got to make him play the volley.
Absolutely. It's a little cheap, those 2 points there back-to-back for Berdych.
5 games on.
And Bhambri really making a fist of this opening set.
For the match, it's good that he's holding on. He's struggling to hold on, and he gets there. Sometimes we see Tomas getting a little irritated with himself and then with the surroundings. And if we want to see a real proper match, that's what's going to need to happen in this first set. The Berdych corner.
Count 15 now.
Did you hear that? The umpire starting with, you want to say 15 love in French, being French and thinking maybe he was at the French Open, but he's in Australia.
Yeah, we call that an unforced error. Almost. Arno Gabas.
Berdych has difficulties reading that forehand of Bhambri now. If he has that loose, it's kind of a funny whip to it. And especially this one out wide, he's struggling to find his rhythm on that forehand. Good intention, bad execution, taking that return on the rise.
Of course, but it could be well aware of the fact that it's too soon to panic. He will keep asking Bhambri to play at a nice high level. That's what good players do. Base level of play is so good. Still room for improvement, but comfortable hold for Berdych. And after 39 minutes, he edges his nose back out in front. 6-5, first set.
Asking for some water. Probably, what do you think on average on a day like this, and probably also starting the night before, how much would a player drink, a man's player in a best-of-5 match?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Probably 6 to 7 liters at least, right?
Yeah, from the night before. Obviously, depending on how long the match goes on for, but I would say in a set, you're probably taking on board a litre, maybe a litre and a half. Of course, you're right. You've got to start hydrating a long time before, haven't you? Because once you get dehydrated, there's no playing catch-up.
It's too late. I remember once on a day like this at the US Open that we had to weigh in before and after a match. And I ended up drinking 8.5 liters, and I lost 4 kilos in 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Wow.
So basically, you lose 12 liters of fluids.
It's incredible. That's what's
so that's what that's also sticky. It's more humid. Here it's more dry heat, which is most of the time easier to handle for the players.
Because all these guys have special drinks these days. Some go with gluten-free. Fair few on the market now. Everything's organic if you can get that.
Even if it's 1 or 2% extra, that's what's going to count.
It's day one of our coverage here of 2016 Australian Open. Second match of the day here on Margaret Court Arena. Tomas Berdych was up a break early, but Bhambri broke back. So Jaco Elting alongside me, Rob Koenig, thoroughly enjoying this contest so far.
It's amazing. Thomas seems to be surprised every time Bhambri approaches with either a cross-court or one down the middle. And he thinks, how can you give me such an easy passing shot? Then he forgets to look at the ball and shanks.
It's amazing how often these guys do spectacular things when they have so little time, but when they have a lot of time, they miss out. Rallies of the match. Berdych finally gets one by the Indian.
15.
Not only one of the best, also the longest rally of the match. And a rally always looks better when there's a great finish to it.
Just getting a piece of the line. 9 shots apiece.
It's a fine line now the Indian is walking upon. Am I going to take it forward? Am I going to take chances? Or am I not going to make a mistake? It's in his mind right now. You could see that on his last backhand. Little hesitation there.
Great combination of shots.
And you see there, it's a different mindset. The way he hit the first backhand down the line, and the next also the next one, this one right here. This one had determination. He wanted it to hit this one.
So is that the kind of mindset you want?
Your opponent feels it too.
40-32.
This hurts.
But I guess sometimes it's not trying to do anything spectacular, but it's to continue doing what you've been doing. I think a lot of players, when they get to the tail end of the set, they think in order to win it, they have to do something spectacular. It's often not the case. One of the things I often say, Jaco, when I'm watching tennis week in and week out is, you know, the top guys, their base level of play stays the same, and when it gets close, the other guys can match them for a little while, but it's not a case of the better player playing better. It's the lower ranked player who then drops off, and then of course the better player wins.
As you said, it's the constant level of play, percentage. That's why you're number 1 or why you're number 6.
Of course, every now and then, when the best players are playing each other, they do one-up one another. They play better, the other guy plays better, and they raise the level. But for me, that's more the exception rather than the norm.
That's also what's the difference between Djokovic and Berdych.
Absolutely.
It's the difference between Djokovic and Federer. And not only within this one match or within this one rally, it's also within a tournament or within a season.
Yeah, well said. That time he spread the court beautifully. That's his beloved inside-in forehand. But he's initially coupled it beautifully with the inside-out. And the ball makes a different sound when it comes off his racket. I mean, anything over 150 is big. He's knocked the fluff off that one.
Advantage bench.
Just see Bhambri there shaking out his arm, as you were alluding to a little earlier. It's obviously still bothering him a little bit. Hasn't played a competitive match since November. The upshot of that is a set point for Berdych. Oh, it's a tough way to go down. Double fault closes out set number 1. Tomas Berdych wins it in 46 minutes. 7 games to 5. That's a perfect example of what we were talking about, right?
Well, we said before the match, first set's going to be important. We also said throughout this set, not to give ourselves compliments, but we said if you do this, you might have a chance to break back. And then eventually we start talking about constant level again. First serve percentage of Bhambri, 49%, Berdych, 57%. That's not very good for Berdych. And if you want to take advantage of that, you have to stay there, especially at the end of this set. You know, net points won, 7 out of 10. Why not do it a little bit more at the end of this? You know, it's just a few small unforced errors, only 3 different.
Yeah, but they were all in the last game, right?
Well, you could say that. There were a few more, obviously, in the beginning of the set, but, you know, the ones at the end, they seem to count most. But it's only 7 points apart in one complete set at 7-5. He has played some great tennis, though. Look at this.
Yeah, the ability to surge forward every now and then. Both guys did it really well. Berdych here, not shy to come in. And I think in this day and age, it's so important to be able to do that, be able to finish points off at the net. But backhand of Bhambri is certainly world class. Point of the set this was with the cross-court forehand. Double trouble.
Well, we've seen a lot of good tennis in that first set. It was a little bit off and on. At stages in the beginning were a few unforced errors, but then the tennis got better. And Berdych had to fight to win that first set.
He's feeling good about himself now. Knows that he didn't play his best tennis there, but still got the job done. Set number 2. Here at Margaret Court Arena. Berdych to start us off.
15.
One of the questions I like to ask coaches, coaching certainly at the highest level, and just to get some insights from people, Jaco, is where is the game going? How is this sport going to evolve further? So if you're coaching a young guy who's 15 now, you know, where's the sport going to be in 5, 6, 7 years' time? What do you see the players doing better, or doing more of?
That's a great passing shot. Well, I think it's a big difference between men and female tennis. So let's stick to this men tennis, because we're watching this great men's match. I think it still has to do with hitting a ball early and not hitting the ball harder. So 1 meter inside the baseline, instead of staying on the baseline, you basically gain 2 meters. The ball doesn't come to you and doesn't have to come back. And I think we're going to need a bit more of a frivolous style of play to start cracking players like Djokovic.
When you say frivolous,
like more like, you know, like a maybe sometimes more serve and volley, maybe a little bit more inside the court. Yes, use the approach. Yes, come in and use the volley.
Yes.
And you know, bring it on. You might still lose very badly, but you're going to also have a better chance of winning against players like Djokovic.
Yeah, big believer in what you're professing there.
Court coverage is going to be even more important, so that means you're going to have to spend more time on your footwork. I think being able to play a high pace, it's all about the legs. It's nothing to do with your arms. And I think the players, if they want to do well, they might have to train even more on footwork than on tennis when they're young. 2 hours a day on physical exercises, at least, starting age 14.
Talk about physical specimens. Tomas Berdych is certainly one of those.
First game.
You see the warm-up of a player like Tomas Berdych in the morning when he gets ready for his match, or when he's in the fitness area, or Novak, or even Roger. The warm-up for these guys is like a strong physical exercise for many of the other guys in the top 100. And I would say that if you are not as good as these guys, you have to work harder, right? That's within your own range.
Yes, it's within your control.
Many times coming to Australia, the guys who had worked hard, the hardest in their off-season, came here, were the strongest, were the fittest. They've done well here in the beginning of the year in Australia.
Yep. Andre Agassi back in the years.
Jim Courier, Ivan Lendl.
And that guy didn't work very hard, did he?
No. He was still beating Andy Murray in the fitness area when he was coaching him.
Really did move the game forward in that department at Lendl. I remember
15.
some of his matches against Mats Wilander. Here, I think it was maybe US Open as well. So a young kid growing up.
$30-15.
Oh, he's all over that like white on rice. Took it so early. It's exactly what Yuki was talking about. I think Federer's ahead of his time in that department, but you're going to have more and more players taking the ball on the rise. And I think if you are small in stature, it still gives you a shot. You look at guys like Goffin, Davydenko. Nishikori as well springs to mind.
30-14.
Of course, you can't teach height, so if you learn to play that way, and then suddenly you do actually grow a little later in life, you've got the best of both worlds. You've got the wingspan, but then you also know how to take the ball on the rise. And then you can cause some serious damage. Berdych striking early again here, just as he did in the opening stanza.
In this case, Per Bastel being a physio, he has no authority within the group. They make him sit in the sun.
Is that how it worked if you were on the Elting team?
The head coach can sit in the shade.
Yep.
15.
It was a big serve. Almost killed the lines person there. 213 kilometers an hour down the tee.
30-15.
Again, if I'm a coach of Bhambri, I don't mind that miss. He's tried to take it early. He's got past the first obstacle. He hasn't missed the ball in the net. If you're going to miss, the good miss is long. So he's doing the right things. It's just about, you know, trying to execute better. That's very nice.
30.
Well read, he expected that one. Started his preparation on that forehand return already before the ball came off Tomas' racket. This shot has worked the best for Bhambri throughout the match. That kind of little shank on the forehand wide. But Tomas somehow doesn't like it. It's not bouncing normally. It's kind of bounces up. Different pace all of a sudden.
Break point. Oh, that is sneaky. That's something we've seen Djokovic do over the last couple of years, that sliding serve down the middle on big points.
But look at the score there, Robbie. It's 7-5, 2-0. You're up a break. That's when you can do it. That's why he's not going to use this so often when you're struggling against Djokovic yourself. And now he's punishing. Now his serve is helping him. And I really feel that, obviously it's first round match, but Berdych has to step up, you know, and serve a little bit more consistent, a bit more first serves, just after you just played a good point. You know, that's when your opponent starts to feel it more and more. That's it.
Big fan of the body serve. Sometimes I don't think that gets utilized enough. Berdych prepared to use a two-shot combination there to close out the game, which he's done well. 3-love leads, second set.
You want to see guys in top 10 punish. You want to see them punish already when they have chances, even in the first 2 rounds when they're not meeting any other seeded players. And if they're winning like they're doing now, you have to see them already punish at some stages. If you don't see them punish, many times you see as soon as they start meeting a really high-ranked other player, they start to struggle. And obviously in a Grand Slam tournament with best of 5 matches, you have your chance to work yourself into the tournament. But even in the first 2 rounds, you can determine whether a guy is ready to go on and really go all the way. You see that many times already in the first couple of rounds. Not necessarily saying that they can't have difficulties. Of course they can have difficulties.
But it's how you respond to that adversity that's what you're talking about. Beautiful day here in Melbourne. Men's first round singles. We're at the bottom side of the top half of the draw. That makes any sense. And Novak Djokovic all the way down to Tomas Berdych on this side.
Well, actually, it's a very interesting part of the draw because Nick Kyrgios there, Marin Cilic is in this part of the draw, but also Federer and Dimitrov. And for Tomas to once again get to the semi-finals, he's going to have to see off a lot of great names to defend his points from the last 2 years.
Dominic Thiem, somebody who I really enjoyed watching last week as well. Roberto Bautista Agut, winner in Auckland. Watch out for that guy. Got a career high ranking of 14 if memory serves. Back in 2014. question for you after this point, Yuki. If I gave you the opportunity now to choose the winner of the men's singles, would you take Novak Djokovic, or would you take the rest of the draw?
Oh, that's an easy question. Just look at last year's results of the Grand Slams. Would you have any other choice than going for Novak? It's just Stan Wawrinka who's had his number on the last two big occasions in the French, and I think was also the year before was also Stan who beat Novak right here at the Australian Open. All others were not able to do so.
He's got some serious firepower, and it's the unpredictability of Stan that's what Novak doesn't like. Oh, that's beautiful. Early, hard, deep. Three-prong attack right there.
Berdych, sloppy start of this game, still fighting for it, looking for that double break in the easy second set.
Advantage, Bhambri. Game Bhambri.
Bhambri ends up holding. Took the scenic route, but he got there in the end.
Berdych leads 3 games to 1.
A similar pattern the beginning of this set as what we've seen in the first set. This was the game actually where Bhambri had a chance to break back. Not exactly the same score, but the same feel and the same rhythm. Almost chance for a double break here for Berdych. Not making it, maybe a little frustrated, and now Bhambri is going to have to go and once again the first 2 points of this game.
Yeah, vitally important. Trying to get some momentum working in his favour.
Thomas picking up a new record, as many players do when new balls are in play. Ball change 7 and 9, total 16 games.
Did that calculation come easy to you when you were playing? Because I still found it incredibly confusing, and a lot of the players they just know it instinctively. So here we go with the new balls.
15-0.
Every now and then you'll see them ask the umpire how many games till the new balls.
Well, they just have to look at the scoreboard if they don't know. Should be able to add up. In this case, 12 and 4.
Yeah, it's easy when you've played just a set and a bit, but what happens when you get to the fourth set? Then you've got some serious calculations to do on the change of ends, and you should be thinking about the match.
It's just long. It's very easy actually. It's just 16, 25, 34, 43, 52, 61, 70.
Okay. Maths was not one of my strong points at school, Yuki. That's why they pay you the big bucks.
Now, I think besides the scores, the players, they just look at the ball, they see the balls, and you know when they start to get a little fluffy, at a certain level you feel, I must be getting close to changing the balls. Because then you can get speeds like this in first, 214 down the tee. It really helps Berdych at this game to get these new balls.
Of course, he likes the quicker conditions.
Yes.
Comfortably out front in the ace race there, 11-1.
Balls less fluffy, less resistance in the air and on the ground.
Watch that one carefully. A strong service game with the new balls.
Berdych leads 4-1.
Tomas comfortably out in front here in set number 2. He's a set to the good, remember? 4-1 here in the second. A lot of the players will have ice towels as well. It's so important to try and keep that core body temperature nice and low. As the new ball's coming out. Very symmetrically.
Besides the tennis balls, which are obviously important, otherwise you can't play tennis. Shoes, very important. Beautiful. Slow motion here, and you see how high he pushes off. He's even going out of sight. But the shoes are so important. I think obviously your rackets and the way they're strung and the weight, you know, the players are meticulous about this. But shoes from tournaments, any tournament basically, they are so important. If you run that much, if you work that hard, you put such a strain on your knees and on your hip and on your ankle. You need to have good shoes. The shoes are, I felt sometimes even more important than my racket. It sounds strange, but I really felt my shoes were important. If I couldn't be anywhere near the ball, or if I wouldn't move well,
you weren't feeling comfortable.
I wouldn't feel comfortable, and then the racket wouldn't matter either. You know. There's also no reason to blame your shoes if your legs are lazy.
This is true. Trying to reduce their arrears here, down 1-4. Bhambri serving.
Love 15.
I didn't really pay attention on the last ball change looking at Bhambri, but it feels to me he's playing with a similar racket. And you see when the balls are a little faster and it's hot outside, he's overhitting now. The second service overhitting his backhand. And normally what you should do is maybe, you know, 1-2 kilos extra. Because you see this one is long again. It's floating a little bit. And then you start to get some feel after rally like this, but you don't have the guts to really hit through it. As soon as you feel your strings are a little too loose in this case.
Maintains a good court position for their first strike there, did Bhambri. Both players have been hitting that serve pretty well. That slider down the middle on the ad side. Nice shape to the serve. Look how it's always going away from Berdych. Tough to catch up to it. Yes, knows he's chosen the wrong shot there. Of course, this is like a set point, isn't it? Goes down a double break. Pretty much kiss the set goodbye. Oh, that's a line licker of a backhand. It's a big-time tennis on a big-time point.
That's like also a great spot to get a shot from your opponent. Halfway court, little top spin, no angle, and it's like practice. I mean, it's like the practice range. You've shot maybe 150 of those this morning, even warming up. We'll see a few big serves coming, probably 215, 220 down the tee. Berdych going to behave like the baboon sitting on top of the monkey, on top of the mountain this game. Oh! 215 this one.
That is beautiful. Nice injection of pace.
15-13.
Look at the court position there. Just inside the baseline, taking time away from Berdych when he makes contact with the ball. Understand why he likes the way that shot's turned out. It's an old school shot, even though it's done with modern day equipment.
The knife slice backhand.
Hits it. You know a thing or two about that shot. Paid a lot of bills for you over the years. 2 points away now is Berdych. Great depth.
But he has to rally for it, and it surprises me. He won at first point. After that, he missed 3 first serve, Berdych. This one was pretty fast first serve, but no angle to it. Still gives him set point, but it's not big enough, this game, for the Czech player, I find. But it's working.
It's what I call the Djokovic return, hard and deep down the middle. You as the server, you don't have any angle to work with. You're able to neutralize the point immediately. Of course, you're still hitting aggressively, but to a safe target.
That's a great shot. That's also the reason why Berdych will not beat Djokovic very often. Djokovic doesn't give him the angles. And with the way he hits the ball flat, it's difficult to create the angles all the time, especially the short cross angles.
So point number 2. Oh, what a second serve to shut the gates on the second stanza. He's large and he's very much in charge here at 2 sets to love. Tomas Berdych wins the second, 6 games to 1. That was more like it, Yuki. Once he got his nose out in front, he kept it there.
Still, well, actually the stats are right here. Second set summary, 48% first serves. Berdych is not serving well enough.
Yep.
This game also, I think it was also about this percentage, the ones that he missed. 4 aces, 1 double fault. You know, if you have these numbers, I would like him to serve a little bit better and go for it a little bit more. He's not hitting the tee very well. You know, all in all, he didn't have to, because he was in control of this set. But we are looking for improvements from the top guys.
Yeah, hit the forehand a little better in this set. Not as many unforced errors, better shot selection. So did Bhambri. It's some pearlers. There's that body serve that we were talking about. Not being scared of the ball coming back. And you can hear the sound it makes when Berdych does get a good one. It's a thud. Such a clean striker of the ball. So strong there in the quads. Maintaining some good balance and posture. Talk about the importance of preserving your energy, especially if you want to go deep in any of the majors. Matches like this, you want to try and get done in straights if you can. So just got to ignore the scoreboard here and worry about the very next point if you're Berdych. It's almost 2:45 local time here in Melbourne. Set number 3 about to get underway here in Margaret Court Arena. Oh, very nice. If you're joining us for the first time today, welcome. The first tennis major of the season. My name's Rob Cunning. I've got Yuki Alting alongside me. Of course, 6 times a major winner. Excelled on both the singles court and on the doubles court. Great to have his insights once again. He's a keen student of the game, still very much involved as Yuki. Got many business ventures as well, and it's fun to watch this new generation of player, isn't it?
It's great. They do things that you never thought were possible on the tennis court. And even at age 45, you're jealous.
And it's interesting that the guys are playing some of their best tennis later on now. 28, 29.
Well, I think it's also they have better fitness. There's better knowledge about what to eat, what to drink, how to recuperate.
That's become a real science, hasn't it?
And also it's more difficult to get through the rankings at a younger age. I think on the men's side you need a few more years to mature, that you're able to play that level, what you need already to play here in the first rounds of the Grand Slams and at ATP Tour level. It's going to be a challenge. Even if the ball's in, you just don't want to give it straight away, especially at 15-30, first game of the third set. He even points it out with his racket. Let's see what Hawkeye says.
Trip to the Cartoon Kingdom. Oh, it has missed. A good challenge from Berdych. It's given him a pep in his step. 2 break points early on here in the third. That'll work.
First game, that's it.
2 breaks in the second set, and the second and 6th games got the job done. He's broken early again here. It's Danny Valverdue He'll be, I think, pretty happy so far with what his charge has been able to do.
I think score-wise, yes. I think tennis-wise, not yet. We've seen a pretty low first serve percentage. And obviously, you know, we try to measure these guys not upon the level of a recreational player somewhere in a local club, but
they wouldn't want that, right?
They don't want it either. And we try to see how far they can go in a draw here in this Grand Slam. And we would like to see him hit a bit more first serves, try to play a little bit more inside the court, be a little bit more punishing when he has to.
15.
Of course, they only want to be measured by the highest of standards. Is the Bhambri camp, of course, on the left there, Craig O'Shaughnessy. Loves all his analytics, does Craig. Obviously been brought in by the Bhambri camp. Give some feedback on Berdych's game. If you weren't with us at the start of this one, it's Thomas's 13th consecutive Australian Open appearance, but more importantly, raise your bet, son. It's his 50th consecutive Grand Slam. It's a great effort in this day and age. Remain uninjured, especially when you consider the physicality of our sport these days, Jaco.
It's 12.5 years of majors. Being 30 years old, he was already there at age 17, 18 in top 100. And consistently in top 10.
And it's interesting when you compare these two guys, because Berdych was a standout junior as well. I mean, he won literally everything. European Championships, every age group. But he was one of these guys who made the transition to the pro game pretty quickly. Tennis came so easy to Thomas at the highest level.
Maybe Bhambri should have a little talk to him after the match in the locker room. Because for the Indian guy, it's been a bit more difficult.
Yeah, of course. World #1 junior, won the juniors here in 2009, did Yuki. Nicely done. Finally breaking into the top 100 most recently. And of course, this is the first time he's made it into the main draw of a major as a direct acceptance. So it's good that he's at least making progress. Did well on the Challenger Tour last season. He's built a nice base for himself now at that level. Okay, this is when we want to see him start to step up now. See if he can win a few rounds at the ATP 250 level.
The good thing is for him is that he is Indian. He'll probably get some wild cards in his own country. As you can see from last year, he's gotten most of his points from challenges in the Asian area, which was smart. He functions well there. He's used to the circumstances. But also for a player like him, I think it would be good for his education to come over to Europe or even more to the States to play challenges there and just develop as a player. And once again, get a higher constant level.
Love it. Thank you. Love 30.
lost the rhythm on the serve, as Yuko was alluding to. Fair few going along, struggling to make any.
Love 14.
Compounded by those counter returns.
This is what we'd like to see Tomas do. 148-second serve, up 2 sets to love, up a break already in the third, and now you have to punish.
He's only won 1 point on serve in the second set. There's Bhambri. 3 break points for Berdych. Too big, too strong, and at the moment it's simply too good. Berdych races to a 3-love lead. This is what good players are able to do. It's not how many spectacular shots they hit when they're on the end of their range, but when you drop the ball short and central to them, they make you pay all the time.
You can say bye-bye. You're out of it. You might be lucky they miss, but just feels threatening once they start playing inside that baseline. Once you're on the run. I really am interesting to see the next service game of Tomas. We've seen the ground strokes come there. He's taking the return now on the rise. As I said, he's punishing.
Yep.
But I want to see a really solid service game again. Not by just winning it, just by hitting the spots on the serve. And obviously with his grip, he likes the one out wide on deuce. He likes the one down the tee on Ed's side. But now he's going to have to go also a little bit more down the middle, the flat one out wide. And I would like to see a lot of first serves. At least 3 points out of the next 4 that he's going to win in this game have to be first serves.
First serve percentage for the match.
Just under 50 probably.
Just over 51.
No,
but
51.
In this set, struggling, 33%. Interesting conversation, because some would argue, well, you know, just stick with the winning formula. Why tinker now? Why not try and get this match done as quickly as possible and get off the court?
Why go to school? You want to be better at math every day. You want to study English. It's the same thing. You want to get better. You want to get better within the match, and you want to get better within the tournament. But just you shouldn't overdo it. It might be good enough for today to beat Bhambri. I agree.
Yep.
But you also want to be ready the next time you have to play Basic in second round, or if you want to play a guy like Batista Agu maybe in a third round match, or Kyrgios I think in the third round match.
Yep.
And especially against Kyrgios, you're really going to have to play well. And this is the time to invest. It's not close.
15.
There's no tension, and there's some room to maneuver, and his coach knows. And I think now he's really a little bit happier.
Danny Valverde used to be with Andy Murray for a fair few years. Very good friends with Andy, and Andy brought him on board. Emily Maresmo back in the Murray camp, of course.
And Jonas Björkman out. I thought Jonas was going to maybe still hang around a little bit, and Amelie traveling less, and Jonas just coming in now and then. A lot of top players keep the same team as long as possible.
Nice authoritative volley.
31.
Still not a very convincing service game.
that is beautiful. The strength in the upper body and the wrist
40-30.
around the side of that ball. Finishing it by his ear. That's in order to get the necessary angle. Oh, that's nice. That's the toughest shot right there.
Berdych leads 4 games today.
Got down nice and low. It's pretty much hands and heels now coming down the final straight for Tomas. Just hanging out there in the shade. Guys are going to maximize their time in that part of the court. Couple of thoughts on Bhambri going forward. 23 years of age now. He's done well at the Challenger Tour. Where's his ceiling?
It's tough to say. I don't feel he has a game to be ranked really much higher. And the good thing is that he has not a lot of points to defend maybe in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, so he can maybe climb a little bit more. But he's going to have to improve. He's going to have to improve. He just has to get a better player to start beating top guys. He can beat the challenger guys. We've seen that. That's why he got to the top 100 last year.
Yep.
But to start beating true players, he has to improve a little bit more. And, you know, he has had a chance over the last 4 or 5 years being ranked in top 200 to get that experience. He hasn't shown it. So I wonder what he's going to do different now in the next couple of weeks, months to make a difference. Is he going to work harder? Is he maybe going to have someone else to help him besides his father? Is he going to make a different tournament schedule?
Yep. If Jukka Alting was his coach, what would he be recommending?
Well, I would try to, if his arm is better now because he was injured at the end of November, I don't know about that, but I would like to see him still play a lot of matches at the beginning of the year to keep that rhythm going, keep that confidence, maybe not going to 2 level yet in the next couple of weeks. Because also with ranking 95, it's tough to get into main draws. And you're kind of questioning, where do I play? Do I play qualies here? Do I play main draw challenger there? It's difficult to make a good schedule. And I think to have peace of mind, it's very important to have a firm schedule. This is where I play, this is when I have some rest. And until your ranking is a little higher, it's easier maybe to start playing some more qualifying for the big events. Stick to the hard courts.
Oh, that is magnificent.
Don't go to play.
Yeah, it's some of the challenges that you have to face as a youngster making your way on the tour. Scheduling, surface.
Game Bhambri.
It's not easy. If it was, everybody would be good at it. Berdych, 2 sets to love and 4 games to 1.
And something else, that's athleticism. Just to work a lot on his physical shape. A lot of Indian players in the past have had great skills, great racket control. They can use the slice and they know how to play tennis. They have a tennis instinct, but physically they've never been really strong. Leander Paes, in singles, maybe ranked like 70, 74, highest career ranking, but in doubles, he's been there for decades. Physically still up there, but it's been tough for them to travel a lot and to play still very well for a longer time, you know, physically in singles. Work ethic is very important. Not saying he's not working hard, but he has to work harder.
Yes.
Time.
Margaret Court Arena, day 1 of the Australian Open, of course, 104th edition. This is the second match of the day on this court. The Berdych camp looking pretty happy. Thomas up 2 sets to love, up 4-1. My name's Rob Cunning. I've got Yuki Alting alongside me. Enjoying this one so far. Bhambri tested Berdych tail end of the opening set, but since then it's been one-way traffic.
59.
It's the one that you like. A bit more variety on the serve.
Yeah, from juice down the tee on the ad side, flat out wide. Yeah, there you go. We asked for it and he delivers. Thirteen aces so far. Maybe serving out with another ace. It would be cool. For instance, right here, I would have done something different if I were Berdych. If I would not be playing so well, also in this own serious game, I would just go for that second serve and not hit it, you know, in the middle of the field, second serve, 161. I would just go down the tee big, 185, 190.
Mm-hmm.
There's always also a second time maybe that you have to play this guy. And you don't want to give him any thought that he has any chance at any time in his career whatsoever.
Yuki Bhambri.
Nice weighted
New
shot.
balls, please.
Quick
Berdych leads
U-turn
5 games
means
to 1.
Thomas will probably head back for a new racket. So no thought of just thinking, well, I'm 5-1 up to stick with the same one.
No, that's also part of being a little bit superstitious. You know, it's like going back. That's what I always do. I would do the same, being Dutch, you know, being cheap. I wouldn't take out another racket, which is just strung. And I think, you know, maybe I'll play 2 more games with this racket and then I have to bring it to the stringer again.
What's the plastic wrapper for?
Well, this is the way you get it from the stringer, and they say that therefore the string is not losing any tension before you play. And if you put it like this in your racket bag, you know, it's more consistent. But whether it's true or not, I don't know. First serve points 1. Look at this, 100% in this third set.
Bhambri been struggling, serving to stay in it. That's a good start.
59.
But of course, a valuable experience, a valuable learning experience. This has been so far for Yuki. A lot of positives you've got to take away from it. Of course, you've been beaten pretty comfortably now. But again, it tells you where your game is, doesn't it?
It does. Last year he had the same chance, though, against Andy Murray. And he lost kind of similarly. Then went back all the way below 400. Playing great tennis again. It's not the time to learn anymore, I would say. If you're 23 years old, you know, within the next year and a half, you cannot have another drop like that. You're just going to have to at least maintain your level and hopefully gain another 10, 15
But I
spots.
think in all fairness, the ranking improved a lot from January till November.
Unbelievably. I don't think there's one player who has gone up that much from 400 back to 95 or top 100. It's remarkable.
I think it's important for our sport as well if we can have somebody from India doing well. Such a big market, creates a lot of interest. But
Berdych leads 5 games to 6.
Berdych very much in charge here. 5-2 third set, 2 sets to love up. course, the American market is a big market as well, Yucko, and nice to see a fair few youngsters coming through now. It's been a while as far as America's concerned.
A lot of girls too.
Yep.
There's some countries that were great, who have not been that great over the last decade. Think about Sweden.
Margaret Court Arena, where Tomas Berdych is
Time.
not being stretched as much as Yuki Bhambri would have liked. Did well initially. Remember, he was down a break early on in the opening set, then got back onto level pegging, but played a poor 12th game. Lose his serve, lose the opening set, and then it's been rolling stock since then. Berdych been very much in charge of this one, serving for a place in the second round. Of course, if Tomas were to win here and close it out, he will take on Mirza Bazic of Bosnia-Herzegovina, who was a winner over your fellow countryman a little earlier today, Robin Haase, in straight sets.
A qualifier, also in the first time qualifying to a main draw of a Grand Slam.
Does defend well for a big guy. For my money, one of the best movers of the really tall, big tennis players, Yucko, is
Absolutely.
Tomas.
Maybe Marin Cilic a little less, but it can also move pretty well for a tall guy. That's too bad.
30-15.
Yuki wants to go out swinging, as he does on the returns. He's trying. You don't want to miss one like this. Gives such a nice feeling to Tomas. You see many times that a big first flat serve coming out after they just had that narrow escape.
Took a while for him to assert his authority on the match. But once the first set was under the belt, he was able to do so after an hour and 45 minutes. The number 6 seed has arrived at match point. Thanks for coming. Authoritative performance from the Czech number 1. Did a lot of things right. Was good enough on the day to beat the young Indian, Yuki Bhambri. 3 sets, 7-5, 6-1, 6-2.
Well, all the things go back in the bag, including the victory. It's always nice to have that first W. But at the same time, he will think, what do I have to do better playing in the second round? I think tomorrow, being another hot day, most likely here in Melbourne, he will go out and maybe practice early. And I would think he will take out another bag of balls and definitely try to hit some serves. and not spend an awful lot of time on court, but still getting a little bit more precise, taking also a few returns, I think a little bit more early in practice. I think that would help him too. And just to get your bearings on these courts under these circumstances, and that's what Tomas needs to do.
A couple of thoughts on Yuki Bhambri, Jaco?
Great to see him here again after last year. I wouldn't like to see him drop that much again. As we said earlier, he has to improve his physical abilities, and you know, he has all the skills, he has good shots. He has to improve his serve. He's not a very tall player, so it's difficult to get the angles. Maybe he has to get some more speed on that one. It's all about work, hard work, nothing else.
Tomas, congratulations through to the second round. Yuki, who's just going off the court now, congratulations. He certainly made it hard for you in the opening set.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was not an easy one. I had my chance, you know, I was a break ahead and I lost the serve, so it was a bit of battle in the end of the first set, but it's good, you know, at least you have that kind of challenge to face in the first match, get through that, and gives you a little more extra confidence, and then, you know, just keep going. You know, it's always a long matches to go, so yeah, I'm pleased to handle it the way I did today.
You found rhythm and form, though, certainly in the second and third, 6-1 and 6-2. You're feeling you're ramping up the game nicely?
Yes, of course. As I said, you know, the first one was a bit tough. Then everything kind of calmed down, set up, and I felt much better. I think it's a very good test to have for the first day, first match. You know, it's the usual weather here, and so it's good. It's good to get a match in these conditions and be ready and be prepared.
Well, you're certainly used to it. This is your 50th consecutive Grand Slam. Give him a round of applause. He's notched a half-century. You feeling old or young?
No, I'm feeling young. I'm definitely not old. I think it's. I heard it somewhere that these days in tennis that the 30 is the new 20. So, so yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna try to do my best. Keep working on myself. You know, being fit and competitive, and playing some good tennis.
And you feel you're in a good place as well off the court too? Lots of great things happening there?
Yeah, I mean, also the life of court is everything. Well, you know, many new things happened last year, so, you know, everything's working well, which is good. I mean, it's another stage in life, and keep going. So, yeah, everything's going smooth and well, so I'm going to try to continue with that, with all the things.
Thank you very much, Tomas. Well done. Congratulations, winning through to the second round. 7-5, 6-1, 6-2.
So the 6th seed, Tomas Berdych, just a little too much for the young Indian, Yuki Bhambri. And look at the draw now for the men's competition on day one of this 2016 Australian Open. And you'll see some of those who have moved through to second round competition already, including Berdych, who knows his second round opponent already. Basic will go through and take him on in 2 days' time. And inside our Australian Open studio, Alan Bestwick with Leif Shiras. Small sample size, but last year's semifinalist Berdych is through into the second round. Does he have the form to get there again?
Oh, I think he does. He's always been a guy who's, 6 to 10 in that range. He's proved himself as a guy who's at the top of the game. What he's had a problem doing is sort of breaking through into that top 5, that elite group. But he is one of those guys just below that. Obviously, he played it well here last year, breaking the losing streak against Rafa Nadal and playing a good match against Stan Wawrinka before coming up a little short in the semifinals. So you always have to put Tomas Berdych in the second week mix. And by the nature of his draw, it looks like he's got a great chance to be there again. He's got a very favorable draw.
Still to come on this day one, Roger Federer in men's play, and in women's play, we'll see Eugenie Bouchard. Maria Sharapova still to play her first-round match as well. Maria met the press the other day to talk about her fitness. Remember, she's had concerns about that forearm.
Yeah, I feel really good.